Hello, everybody! How is everyone doing on this fan-frickin-tastic Friday? I think it's Friday everywhere right now, because it is my day off. And I thought, you know, what better day to have this stream, or rather, better time to have this stream than a time where most of our fans should be able to enjoy it. Whether you're working, or at school, or just chilling out in the evening for all of our Euro friends, because we have quite a few Euro friends. Welcome, Roy Mustang to the chat, and also Needle. Oh my gosh. It's been a while since we've done one of these, hasn't it? Hopefully my, audio isn't coming too strong with that synth background. No, that's not too bad. Okay. So, Eurocast, that's right. Yeah, I thought about, I was so tempted to stream yesterday, and then I realized, oh wait, it's 10 p.m. my time, which means even in the best of conditions, in like, I don't know, our Chinese and Japanese listeners, you're just getting up. And, we don't have a ton of those. Like, obviously, we have a very Anglophone-centric audience, so maybe we might have hit a few Australians in that circumstance, but most of y'all are further closer to the GMT line. So here we are now. First off, I'll explain the title for those of you who weren't around 7 months ago when I did a BananaCast called Where There's Smoke. And so you see, this is the end of that statement. This is the closing brackets. Where there's smoke, there's fire. See, it was all planned that way, obviously. I didn't just pull this out of my ass and I realized I left that, when I left that ellipses at the end of the February broadcast. But it connects to it narratively as well. Because even though I opened up that broadcast with a bunch of random bullshit, I think I was talking about football or something. Completely stupid. Not appropriate at all for our nuclear horse plus expanding fiction channel. Anyway, and technically it's not about an EAST Corp property anyway, but I feel implored to at least give a closing statement in that sense on this channel, since I already did that on my regular YouTube channel as well. So here we go to everyone here and everyone who listens to this later on. As you might have seen from my personal channel, I released a very well-titled video called Out to Pasture, which is that the Skyball channel has gone to the glue factory to get turned into delicious paste you can sample when, in your third grade class with all your friends. Now, it's, as I think I explained everything in the video pretty well, of just the idea that I've done everything that I can or everything I've wanted to in terms of all the old, like, parodies and stuff. Everything that I was kind of doing with my channel in the first place. After I got hit with that big copyright thing back in whatever it was, mid-2020, when the weekend hit me in July, I was like, okay, I've pushed far enough with my parodies. I've done a lot with those, and that was a fun time of my creative expression, but honestly, it was always a bit of a, it was always just a bit of a, what's the right word? Not filler. Filler isn't the right word. Obviously, it's something I very much enjoyed doing, but it was never, like, the primary driver in any of this. Like I said, I explained in the video in more details, but I guess I'll give a more comprehensive thing, just because this is our live stream channel. This is the where we just talk to the audience. So anyway, back in high school, I was really into not really into, but I was starting to dabble in like poetry and things, ironically. Just sort of rewriting lyrics to stuff, just straight poetry too. I actually won this little like award in my junior year for this poetry contest in my high school. So that was kind of neat, like, you know, our little school system or whatever of like 5 or 6 high schools. So it's just one of those rewarding experiences of being like, hey, it was the dumbest thing too. I think it was on, I don't even remember what it was on. Anyway, I did win an award though. I had like one of those little blue ribbons somewhere for a while. Anyway, that was one of those like early validations of like, oh, okay, maybe I can do like writing type stuff before, because especially up until that point, I was very left-brained. Like I was always the engineer in the family, the little builder with my Lego and my K-Nex and my Lincoln Logs and shit like that. Whereas my parents were the calculators in the literal sense. My parents both work in finance, so they know money backwards and forwards. They know all about like tax laws and a whole bunch of like contracting like stuff that I could not stomach. I would go crazy if I had to read through all that bullshit. So no, I was very happy to be gifted, to be blessed with a brain good enough to do, level 3 calculus. Enough to get my graduation diploma anyway. But luckily, despite all that, I actually came from a very creative family in the general sense. My brother's always dabbled in music too. He's had different bands with his friends ever since he was in high school, and he's played at like little church groups and things like that. So very musical family there. And then my dad was actually always into acting. My dad did like literal local theater where he grew up for years, from his I think senior year up until the end of university. He wanted to do like proper stage stuff. He did I think he did Joseph right after that came out. He did a lot of Shakespeare, Two Men in Verona, Midsummer Night's Dream, stuff like that. So very like I guess you could say I have a good pedigree of being a theater kid, which is how we end up here to my channel and to horse stuff in general. I've explained numerous times in the past, but a quick rundown again, Bogdanov, on essentially like the whole channel started out, my original channel, just as I couldn't do anything else creatively for a while. I did my own little local theater stuff in my area up until the end of my freshman year of college, my first year, grade 13, whatever. Then my schedule got batshit crazy, and I had all these stupid labs and things where I couldn't do it anymore. My schedule was filled up. I wasn't getting out of normal college until 6, and that was on top of working like 30 hours a week. 2 of those nights a week I had night classes. One of them was a film class, so that was fun, but I mean, it's still a night class where you're not getting home until like 10 p.m. because I was a commuter. I still lived with my family at the time. And so I was like, honestly, I was like going a little stir crazy. I'm like, I need to do something fun. I need to do something creative to break up the morass of daily engineering and science labs and all this bullshit. And so I was starting to look at solutions of like, what could I do? What is a good outlet for that? And then almost like on cue at the same time, I stumbled on this burgeoning horse fandom and the MLP. That's how all that started. So yeah, right or wrong place at the wrong time, you could say. And I just started going from there. And yeah, the lyrics and stuff, that was all kind of a primer. Even back then I was starting to write and get into like fiction. Like I was dabbling with a story for like a year or two, actually. It was like, it was almost Fallout fan fiction. You could almost call it that. I might still do the story someday. There's enough degrees of separation, I think I can make it more different than Fallout in the general sense, but it was like a Fallout and Metro had a baby. And then the baby was recruited and died in Vietnam, so. Died in the Vietnam of my creativity. But it's still kind of a neat story. I might still do something with it someday. I just gotta retool it down the road. Anyway, so but that was the fresh soil from which then, once I got into Fallout Equestria and discovered all that stuff, that then we get Confessions of Wasteland Pony and my contributions to Terminal Secrets and Wasteland Survival Guide. So that was a lot of fun. And over time, my whole work on Confessions, as I said all the way back at the very beginning, was always practice for larger scale storytelling, for eventually doing what I've finally done after many, many years, which is write a proper novel, a proper thriller, a murder mystery that I am so happy with. I can't even get into how great it's been, actually, just to finish it and launch it and publish it and everything. You can see on the whatchamacallit, video on my channel that I have the I mentioned the links and everything at the very end with the new pen name and all, but I will drop right here the cover. Homecoming by Frank Winter, the new pen name too, which is really funny actually. It's actually a family name. There's one of my great uncles going back in like maiden names and stuff like that, who was basically Frank Winter, and I'm like, oh, that's exploitable. That's perfect. Did a bit of research after that, and I'm like, okay, what's honestly, it was like what I did with Skybolt back in the day. I'm like, what is the search engine optimizable like possibilities with this? And I'm like, what are the other Frank Winters out there? And there aren't a lot. There's a non-fiction author, Frank H. Winter, H as in Hector, or Hotel. That's the NATO signature. But he wrote like non-fiction, like war history stuff, like World War II through, I think, Vietnam. And I think he's dead too, so he's not releasing a ton of new stuff right now. And then when I actually finally published to Amazon, apparently there is a Frank Winter in Germany who does like, I don't know, they look like almost like fairy tale books or something completely different. Like, you can't get confused with this at all. And I actually had to email Amazon just for them to clarify, like, hey, I'm not this guy. Can you separate these for me? And they finally did. So they've been pretty great too. As as the by and large of the self-publishing industry, Amazon is actually pretty okay with customer service. So that's been nice. Hello, Scrollkeeper. I see you in the chat as well. Thank you so much. So I'll read the. In fact, let me grab my actual paperback here. Oh, cozy. I just love holding in my hand this paperback. Like, looking back now, if there was a way, I would figure out a way that we could put the Confessions and everything on Amazon, just so we could have them bind a paperback copy for us. I don't know if we can, though, because of the copyright complications, but that'd be so cool. Just to hold it, it's that physical, that touch. And all this work I put into the design of the cover too. I went through like 4 iterations of the actual paperback itself, and really happy with how it turned out. I'll put some samples of that on screen while we're talking. Whoop, that's for later. There we go. Okay, one last dance. Homecoming was going to be the best night of their lives for the students of Villa Vista High School, but instead, it became their last. Love was in the air as several couples among the crowd found themselves at a crossroads. Expectations were high, but the future was less certain than they could ever imagine. Death was not the end. The students found that hell looks a lot like high school. The afterlife only offered more questions than answers, but one question took center stage. With grief and anger consuming them, the search for their killer began. Now the accused must survive the wrath of their classmates, while continuing their own search for atonement and escape. Their limbo could give way at any moment, and they have no idea how far down the circles they might fall. So, nice and spooky, just the way I like it, and hopefully a lot of other people will like it too. So many inspirations that went into this book. The craziest thing, as I mentioned earlier, started really getting like creative, working that right brain back in high school. And it was actually in high school, right around that time, I had my very first idea of a real story I really wanted to pursue. And this is that story. And it's so crazy, too, because it actually ties into a very real thing that happened to us when we were in high school that I'll go into detail down the road. I want to give some people time to discover the story and read it first, hopefully. It looks a little thick. It's not too thick, I don't think. It's just the right amount of thick, you know. Some cushion for for the noggin. It's 196,000 words, which is about the size of Fellowship of the Ring or Deathly Hallows. It's shorter than Moby Dick, and it's shorter than Dostoevsky, so that's good. But I think it reads really well. It's got a good rhythm to the chapters. They're all about 18 pages long, so there's a nice even flow to things. There's a lot of little turns within the story that keeps it moving forward. You know, if you're familiar with Confessions, or you guys more than anyone else, more than any of the randos that I'm trying to market to now through Amazon and Facebook, should understand my storytelling style. Like, if you enjoyed Confessions, I feel like you'd very much enjoy this, because it's got everything but the horses. Are there any horses? I think I make a reference. Oh yeah, I use Pale Horse, Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse reference in there at one point, so that's pretty fun. So yes, that's right. When the what is it? Chapter chapter 22 is the Pale Horse. So there you go. Anyway, for those who are familiar with my previous, horse riding, I think you would enjoy it. Especially Confessions. There's because of the nature of the story, because of the setting and everything, there are like 3 or 4 main couples that are like the protagonists. They're the ensemble cast, and each couple has a slightly different dynamic of like what's driving them, like what brought them to the homecoming dance, and all of their wants and hopes and dreams and everything, and then they all fucking die. And they all bite the big one, and we see what unfolds after death, and they're waking up in the afterlife and all that good stuff that follows. So I think it's a fun story. I think it's kind of neat. Look into that. Oh yeah, no, I definitely want to have like a regular podcast soon too. We're way overdue for that, and we started planning for the new stuff coming up too, which unfortunately I can't speak to because I'm about as informed as the audience as far as Sunset Charlie and what's to come with Aria Moon. So that's exciting. I'm joining the audience in that sense. Yeah, I think Vermont was famine, and Kelly was pestilence, and Nita was war. She's very good war lady. Yeah, and then I was death, of course, because I just wanted to die. Still do. But yeah, so this is why I was so giddy way back in February. At that point, where was I? I think I said in there, I was at the 2/3 point. I was right when the rising, or not the rising action, but I was right at the lowest point, right when the characters all meet their, the bottom, the ninth circle, so to speak. And it was so freaking sad, and some of them go through a lot of suffering over the course of the story, but you'll have to check it out to see how it ends. Which is neat. So it's so the paperback's up on Amazon. I made sure to adjust everything so it's on their global marketplace or whatever. So you can, wherever you are, regular Amazon, UK Amazon. I think UK Amazon services Europe. I don't know. It might be Deutsche Amazon or something. Continental. I think there's a Russian one too, Australia. Anyway, wherever your local Amazon, mega corporation is centered, they probably have a printer. They can print one for you. Or if you don't want to deal with paper, because I know it's a bit of a novelty souvenir or whatever, it's on ebook. Ebook was the main driving format. So it's that also took some design. I'd never done like a proper ebook before, so literally every part of this entire process this year has been learning experience, which is really awesome, actually. Like, it was very rewarding just doing every little bit of, like, how this stuff works, really. Like, I had no idea about, like, EPUB as a file type, how to work with some of these softwares like Calibre or Calibra, however they pronounce it. I had to break free of Adobe because Photoshop is too expensive. Way too expensive. And so I started using the software called Krita, or Critter, something like that. I think I mentioned that in the other podcast, but anyway, that's what I used to do the this thing, the main logo, which is the school logo. So I was very proud of that. I obviously steal ideas from existing school logos, but I tried to do like what you would do in designing a school logo, where like each of the things like represents something that the school stands for, you know, something that would have been written in Latin 100 years ago, which in this case was wisdom, knowledge, justice, and creativity. And that's what the four corners of the seal stand for. You know, the flame of knowledge, the history, the you know, perpetuity of, flame of wisdom, perpetuity of knowledge, scales of justice, hashtag Libras, where all my Libras at. and then creativity, because you got to start something new. You always got to keep evolving, got to keep surviving, adapting to situations. Which is also great because then that's a subtle foreshadowing of the school's theater department, which does play a major role in the story. There are 2 or 3 of the characters are theater kids, which is so great because oh god, it's just like, it's kind of like honestly, it's like fan fiction of my own high school experience. All these crazy stuff that actually happened to me in high school. So that was, except for the dying. I don't think I'm dead. Really don't think I'm dead. But I guess I don't know, right? Yeah, so anyway, so that was a lot of fun. It was just getting to draw this up and just work with a program that I never used before. And then, where is it? Yeah, there we go. So then, for the cover itself, then there's the crack in the wall that, you know, the logo's painted on like the white brick wall of a gymnasium, and it's getting split in half for reasons. And it splits in half right over the comedy mask, and the tragedy mask is all scared of what's about to happen because foreshadowing. It's very simple. I'm very happy with that. Don't work hard, work smart. And then that is me holding the book in the background. So I had a launch party just this last weekend, and my parents and brother surprised me with this incredible a varsity jacket. They went onto one of those, like, you know, high school like warehouses or whatever, and they got a varsity jacket in the fictional school colors, basically. And I brightened them up a little bit for the cover, but this is closer to what I imagined, like a bumblebee yellow. And the V and everything, and then I wore my spooky little skeleton shirt because it's Halloween, and I've been in full Halloween mode for the last month anyway. So that was very fun party. Good times were had by all, and especially me. And audiobook. Yes, no. So that is the whole point. Was the audiobook. Wait, yeah. Okay, so what you heard at the very beginning, or one or two of you might have heard at the very beginning, was the theme song that I commissioned for this story from everyone's favorite metal musician, the L Train, which I'll play now again in the background. It's up on my YouTube channel, and you can download it for free. Villa Vista Elegy, my new YouTube channel, the Frank Winter one. It's nice and spooky, and it's written specifically for the audiobook. It's going to go in 2 places. One sort of at the beginning, and then one at a certain place in the middle. And it's going to fit so well, and nice and spoopy, and big story inversion. Yeah, apparently you can just make Letterman patches. I don't know what they went through, like, I don't know, things remembered, or what the high school equivalent of that is, and they just, made me a Letterman jacket. It's great. there aren't a lot of letters, it's just the V, but I mean, that was perfect for costuming, you know, for wearing at a party, and then just hanging up in the corner to look at, because I just love it. Yeah, so... Sorry if it's loud. I haven't streamed in a while. And then it fades to nothing. It fades to silence, just like you do when you die. Anyway, great. Nope. Don't play Taylor Swift. Don't. Don't corrupt the channel with copyrighted music. Anyway, back to the copyright-free synthwave. So that honestly, that's been like great like writing fodder for me too, because he finished that right away. I was actually surprised. He gave me like I told him I wouldn't need it until like summer. I didn't know what his schedule was like. You know, it was my first time just properly commissioning him like a regular person, kind of. And yeah, he turned it around in like a week or two. So, which was perfect. So then I was listening to that all through the second half of the writing process, and then the editing process and the making, you know, the production of the audiobook and all that good stuff. So it's so great. I've just been so stoked. And yes, so the main thing, it was used for promotions, of course, and then the main thing is the audiobook, which hopefully will come out in January. Hopefully. That's my current target. Maybe I'll miss that. It looks like it's going to be a busy fall for me, so I don't know how much time I'll get. I am almost halfway done, though. I've been recording on and off. My main recording window was like April through June, and I got 12 chapters done then, which means I only have 18 left. No, I got a few extras done in the middle, so I have about 15 left. But yeah, I think it's pretty good. You know, I've improved my recording quality over the years, so it's not going to sound like that very first release of X Raider. That's for sure. It's all the lessons I took, especially since Red Reaper and the Confessions finale, the radio host. So it's got a nice, you know, all the sound is quieted. I'm much better about silencing. Boom. Okay, are we back? I think we're back now. Yeah, so like I said, I've been just drinking my throat coat tea, and little by little, you know, ever since Confession started, I've gotten better at recording. I like to think so. I think I've gotten better at this. Anyway, whenever the audiobook comes out, I think it'll be worth the money for people who enjoy the story or want to check it out. And of course, the whole point of it is to get it on Audible. That's the end game, is just to get it to Audible. As far as other platforms, I'm not sure yet. Right now, I'm doing the exclusivity deal with Kindle, which like boosts my, I don't know exactly how it works. Like I said, this is all still a learning process, but they like put it in their Kindle library, like they have a Kindle Unlimited like Netflix for ebooks or something. And some of their other promotional like benefits for being Amazon Kindle exclusive. So I'm doing that for at least the first 3 months, which is their standard window, and then maybe after that I'll put it on like Google Books and Apple Books if I can figure out how Apple Books works. I'm Windows peasant, so I really don't know the Apple ecosystem at all. I will say though, Google Books is better for reading audiobooks. I know that sounds horrible to say. I'm just going through all that, but I don't know. Like all my review process has been on my Google Books app, where I'll just like I publish like a demo version of the EPUB straight from Google Docs actually, which was actually very handy during my writing process. And then I don't know about Kindle. I I haven't found one if they do have this yet, but the Google Books has like a read aloud tool, and they have like a robot voice that will just read it aloud. I mean, here, let me pull it up. I'll mute the music and where is it? Where is it? Okay. Let's go early in the story so I don't spoil things for anyone. Oh, a little earlier. We don't want to spoil that yet. Okay, here we go.
Not, a parent would stop by after a game, surprised that Rick had reminded them of a story from their own life that they had forgotten. So, what do you think? Bob asked, as Rick took a large bite from the chili dog. Do our boys have a chance of turning this around? Rick Wallace searched his archives, zoning out over the field while the choir's medley broadcast in the background. He finally swallowed the bite and turned back to Melkonian, the closest...
Anyway, so, again, obviously, very robotic, very computery, but serviceable. So, like, every time I wrote a chapter, then, like, you know, driving to work, because I'm going back to our building once a week, which sucks, but whatever. Or just being on the road, or, you know, whatever, playing games. I can then, like, play whatever I've written, and through that, and just kind of hear how it sounds, in the general sense. Then, obviously, my own reading's a lot better. I wonder if I can find that same section and show you the side-by-side. Let me see here. Audiobook. The other thing I'm doing is trying to finish the audiobook before my computer fucking dies. I feel like it's been, I don't know. It's hanging on just barely. It's been doing weird things all year, so I don't know how much life is left in it. I've already have the whole like layout of what I'm going to replace it with, so it's just you know, as soon as it dies, I'll place the order. Here we go. Let's see here. Okay, let's see if I can pause it right at the second. Oh my god. Okay, you can just see from how long it takes everything to load how frustrating this has been. Come on, man. Come on! Windows Media Player. Play the media. Play it right now. Right now. Do it. Do it, you son of a bitch. Come on! This is not good presentation. I have everything else loaded up. I have all my images for the stream already loaded into OBS and everything, which I haven't used in like fucking 8 months or whatever. Not 8 months. It's a few months. It's been a while since it's been a stream. Oh my god, man. Come on. Come on. Okay. Skip to the right point. Ah, Jesus. Okay, there we go. All right, now go to the right spot. Yeah, this thing is on borrowed time. I'm actually surprised I can get any rendering done at all on Mixcraft or fucking anything. Alright. Almost there. Okay, good enough. Unmuting now.
And he loved every minute of it. Mr. Mel always had a passion for teaching. He really loved being able to properly introduce new generations of kids to the life sciences, even if a few animals had to die in the process.
So many animals.
At the same
All
time,
the
he
animals
really
died.
enjoyed working at a high school. It kept him young, even though his daughter had graduated a couple years.
Anyway, so what this is not a big surprise. It's what you can expect if you've listened to any of the stuff that we've done already. History, life orientation, and computer applications technology. Oh, fun! Those sound like good exams. Let me go through the chat real quick, see what you guys are talking about. Did it crash? Kind of. It had some startup troubles where like every time it turns off and comes back on, like it won't boot up like at all. It'll stay on like the bootloader screen, and it's like, do you want to boot normally? It's like, well, yeah, I would prefer that ideally. Are you gonna do that? No, not always. Sometimes I have to reset it like 2 or 3 times, and then it'll boot like normal, like nothing happened. Piece of shit. Let's see here. Could we do an audiobook version? You know, I thought about that. It would be a massive undertaking, and I honestly don't have the money to pay people to do that. Going back to someone asked about L Train's prices. Yes, yeah, he will do just commissions for anyone. I don't know if he gave me a discount or not. Maybe not. He probably just charged me normal as everyone else, but I probably don't want to exactly quote people on it anyway, in case he did. So just talk to him. Like, go on his YouTube channel, and I think he has a business email or something. And he could probably give you a quote or something. Like, I gave him 2 pieces of music of basically what I wanted it to sound like. One of them was for, like, a vibe, and one of them was for instrumentation. Like, the 4 main pieces of the theme, which are a choir, and then a single angelic female voice, and then the guitars, obviously, because Zeltrain, and then the drums. So... yeah, so, come prepared. I've done a couple music commissions before L Train and stuff, so just kind of like have a comprehensive layout of what you want, and then a couple samples of the musician to listen to, and, get the idea of what you're talking about. And yeah, he'll, money is money, especially now. Everyone needs work, man. It's a crazy time out there. So I was happy to be able to, just keep commissioning music friends. I've been talking to James Kelly too, doing something similar with him, which is turning out incredible. That's for down the road though. That's also really sweet sounding. Do you need me to poke my Audible people for you? Oh wow, that might be nice down the road. We'll see what happens. I'm just got to get it done first. It's been slow process, it's a lot of recording. I've gotten better at my workflow. Like, I have a new process of basically I record and then I come back later and I do my first pass editing, which is simply to select the proper takes. So, if I do 2 or 3 takes of, and then everyone died, and then everyone died, and then everyone died, and then I pick which one is good, and then so. And that's my first pass editing now. And then the second pass is lining all those up so they're timed right. All the sentences have a good natural pacing to them. And then also to take out the panting and all the other random sounds, figure out what I need to completely re-record because I bumped the table or something stupid like that. I try to be so careful. Like, I have pillows on my feet and I have sound dampeners on my walls and carpet and table, and still you get the little random fucking taps. So, anyway, but I'm going to go back to some of those at the end, which is yeah, so it's been a fun process. I got my files on Google Docs, exams, and stress from school. Yeah, no, I mean, the main reason I wrote on Google Docs is the same reason I wrote on Google Docs for Confessions, which is device synchronicity. So I could write on my home computer, back in the old Virginia days, I could write on my home computer and then step on an airplane and take out my little laptop and pick it up right where I left off as I'm sitting for 7 hours flying to Seattle or back home here to California or something. So it made it really easy. And even today, where I've been bottled in my house, more or less, for 18 months, it's nice to just be able to write something, and then as I'm going to sleep, I can either listen to Google read it aloud for me in a soothing robotic voice, or I could just scroll through and just read it second pass on a different format, you know, on a phone, and see it like in mobile orientation and more mobile layout. And then when I actually wanted to create the ebooks and create basically the source Word doc, Microsoft Word doc file that then becomes the ebook file and the paperback file, the transformation was actually really, really simple and straightforward. Like, I have a whole basic bulleted list now of, like, you know, do this, and then this, and then this, and it transforms my Google Doc into a good format. Which actually, that was kind of the process I went through when I was creating the Confessions PDFs. So that was that learning experience. Yeah, there's fine. So that was that learning experience for doing that for the Confessions big bonus package. That then I got that little extra knowledge, and then for the paperback design itself, it was really, like, I put in a lot of work. As soon as California's opened up, like literally that weekend, I went to my local Barnes & Noble and I got a stack of like 20 paperbacks, like common thrillers and other books that it's based on. The really simple marketing tool of when I'm just telling like new people about the story is it's either Carrie, as in Stephen King's Carrie, meets John Hughes, or it's Heathers, the 80s movie / musical, Heathers meets Tim Burton. And that's the most straightforward way that covers the themes of the story, the tones, the kind of general vibes. So anyway, it's spoopy, but very high school as well. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So so I went to Barnes & Noble the first time, and I just got these stack of books. I wonder if I have that picture of all these damn books I looked through. It had literally just opened, and luckily my local Barnes & Noble has a large seating area, which we were allowed to sit in. So I was able to get a coffee at the built-in Starbucks and just sit for, I want to say 5 hours. I got there like 10 a.m. or something, and I just started going. I just started like going one book after another, and basically figuring out the entire general construction of those stories. Oh, here we go. Here's one with the demos, and where's the other picture? The one from that first visit. There's me in the hospital. It's been a fun summer. Fun summer, getting to go to the hospital twice. Oh, here we go. Where's the stack? There's the stack. I'm sorry for people who aren't interested in this at all. I'm sure Vermont will do another stream on Arya Moon or something soon. This is kind of like, I felt it was owed to the channel just because I talked about it so much, you know, way back in February. Like, I gotta, you know, obviously it's a little shameless promotion, which, you know, but at the same time, I really did just want to catch people up to what the fuck was I talking about. So here, oh my god. From that very... What the fuck? Why is it sideways? What the fuck? Why did it do this? Turn, why did you do this? Transform. Okay, damn. That was weird. Anyway. Anyway, so yeah, I sat down for several hours at the Barnes & Noble and just went through all these, like, newer and older books and just stuff that I was used to, stuff that I'd read. Like, that was the same version of Jurassic Park I read way back in middle school. So I was, like, reviewing, okay, what do they do for table of contents? They don't put one, which I didn't really realize up until then. What do they do for chapter titles? What do they do for headers or footers? Where do they put the page numbers? Where do they put afterword or acknowledgements or other information, just literally the basic construction of paperbacks these days. Like what do all the famous successful authors do? And how do I do that too, so I can become famous and successful? yeah. So then about a month later, after I'd integrated all of what I'd learned into my own personal design, I then went back and started comparing and contrasting and seeing how all of that ended up. How does it look on a shelf with these other actual good books on whatchamacallit, on a shelf at Barnes and Noble. So you got your Harry Potters. There's a reason these are laid out like this, actually. On the far right, Moby Dick and Deathly Hallows, those are the only two books of the entire stack that put the chapter titles in the headers, which was something I wanted to do because I was like, without the table of contents, I'm like, how do you know where you are? Like, you don't have an easy chapter guide or like a chapter list that you can just click to, like in an ebook or whatever. And I'm pretty happy with my chapter titles. I think they sound neat. No, read the first couple, because obviously they're all very well titled, I like to think. We have the prologue, Time on the Clock, Setting the Stage, Too Late to Turn Back, Love and Longing, Dangerous Roads, Crowns and Curses. Heavy as that crown. It's a very fucking heavy crown. One Last Dance, and When Lightning Strikes. And then about 20 others. Anyway, so I liked my chapter titles, so I wanted to put them on the page, because A, it's a nice, easy magnet for people of being like, what was the last chapter I read? It was the one where they were like all lovey and longingly. So let's start there. And, I don't know. I think it looks good. It helps set the frame, too, of you're like, oh yeah, this is the chapter on the pale horse. So there's all these dead pale horses everywhere, or whatever. It's just kind of, I liked it. I thought it looked neat. I put a lot of effort into finding a really good, fonts that I liked. All free fonts, which is also really nice. So the main title font there is, what's it called? Capitalis Originus? Something like, a Trajan Roman-derived font, but it was one of the free fonts that came with, I think Google Docs originally, or whatever. So I just found the TTF file. And then the actual main page font is the same as... yeah, there we go. So the actual main body font is what's there in the middle of the back copy, which is Libra Baskerville, a nice free Baskerville-derived font. So it's got nice little a light serif to it, and it reads really well. And it's like a good in between like Garamond and Times New Roman. So over the years, I've really started paying attention to fonts because of all my silly chapter titles and all that other, not chapter titles, song parodies and other bullshit like that. So it matters. You gotta find a good font that is comfortable to read and flows well and looks good on a page. And then after that, it was just about sizing everything right. So it works out with everything else. It's about the same thickness. It's about the same general size. I wanted 6x9 for the paperback width or the whatchamacallit, the square dimensions, just because I like the look. It's a nice round number. I didn't want to do 5 3/4 by 7 7/8, or I don't know. It just sounds weird. 6x9, simple, got it. So I went with that. And I like I said, I think it holds well. It feels well. What else about those stacks? Stan, Game of Thrones, and Corrections. The Corrections I found, I guess that's a popular novel from 2002, I want to say. It gets ranked high up there as a quintessential American books, like Great Gatsby and what's the other one? Blood Meridian, stuff like that. It's a very a literary person's kind of literature. And it's about a broken family and having to come back together for holidays or something. Anyway, the main reason I got a copy of that is because it was almost the same word count. So my font is just a little bit larger than that, which is why it looks a little bigger. But Of all the others, it looks about the same. Yeah, I wanted the binding art to look like bright and to stand out. So you've got the little swords of the explosion over the name Frank Winter, and then you've got the fire just expanding outward. That was another cool thing. In the whole process, I discovered this website called Upsplash, which is basically free photos. Completely copyright free, no copyright attribution, no copyright, you can just make money, you can put it wherever. The only thing you can't do is just bind all of them together in like a book, like, you know, Upsplash photo book, and then sell them outright. It's meant to be used, like, it's provided by photographers for people to use on derived art like this. So, I found this great one of a road, which is... Are we resetting? Oof. YouTube scared me there for a second. A great, oh my god. Yeah, cross out the Frank Winter. Yeah, I thought if I ever do, like, streams on that channel, or, like, you know, in character, whatever, I'd probably go by Frankie. Just whatever. Frankie goes to Hollywood. Frankie goes to Sunset Avenue to try to sell his book. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. So the binding, same thing with the binding art is that's actually a guy, a fire breather, like at a, not at a luau, but it's just some like random, like, I think a Vegas guy who, you know, drank a mouthful of kerosene and then sprayed fire upward in a dark room. And that's what that is. So it looks so cool. And it was a nice, like, you know, 20 megapixel image. So I'm like, that's my book binding. So the dude's mouth is like half an inch just below the name there, which is really funny. Yeah, and the back cover makes sense when you actually read the story and the setting. It's in Northern California, kind of like Upper Bay Area coastal setting. So you got the coastal redwoods and the spooky fog. It all plays into the story. The one piece of art that I actually had to attribute, the one of them that wasn't a, what's it called, Creative Commons Zero, which is basically totally free. The one that was attributed was the actual, what's the right word? Texture. The picture of the white bricks of the main cover. So if you go to the copyright page on the inside, it's in the middle bottom where I link to, or not link to, but I list freepic.com and the dude's name, which is like Mr. Ipsipode or something like that. And, you know, white brick wall texture. So thank you, Mr. Dude. That's great texture. Yeah, and then everything else I designed myself, which is, you know, one of the things I wanted to do was just to be able to design it myself and kind of be involved in every part of the process. Oh, that was the other thing. In the middle stack, Corrections and Game of Thrones and Stand and Dune, the reason those are in their own stack is because those were the paperbacks where they had some kind of little design artwork inside the book. Like the first page of each chapter had a little, like in the case of Game of Thrones, had this like vine art, like reaching down from the top of the page, and, you know, kind of a nice little like graphic like that, a black and white graphic. So I was tempted to do that. I ended up not doing that because I thought it's going to be hard enough making sure all the letters and titles line up right, both in the paperback and in the ebook. So I didn't do that this time, but that's something I'm definitely going to look into down the road, just for that nice extra flair for paperbacks. And then on the left are just all the big books, the really fucking thick books. So the reason Stephen King's It, which is 500,000 words, or no, I'm sorry, The Stand is 500,000. It is 300,000, I think. Is the font. The font is like a whole size down, which I think is uncomfortable. Like, it's not nice to read, and it's too thick. It's too thick. There's such thing as too much cushion. So like with mine, I wanted it to where it was comfortable to hold. It wasn't overly like just bunched in just for the sake of saying you have a paperback. I wanted it to be comfortable to read. Like, I did that myself several times as I was reviewing my paperback demos. That being the second demo? I think that's the second demo version. Yeah, so I sat at my desk for, you know, several hours, several evenings, just reading through my own story just to make sure it was comfortable to read and it's comfortable to look at. to make sure I had the right gutter depth, which is the separation between the letters and the inside of the binding, you know? So it didn't like run and disappear into the shadows of the gutters. The It book was uncomfortable. Both It and The Stand, which is even bigger, were massive fat books. And the font was too small. Like, just one size up would have been better, but it was too small. Then on my initial thing, I also had Carrie, because obviously Carrie is one of the sort of inspirations, which will make sense once you read the story. Anyway, let me look through the chat again, see what you guys have been saying. Life orientation, like social studies. Oh, that's fun. Apocalyptic goth rock. That does sound fun. Yeah, that's another thing I listen to so much. that was another thing I could mention real quick is if you go to the Frank Winter YouTube channel and you'll find the song That Way Too. The song is also the first song of a whole playlist of basically inspiration music. It's an unofficial soundtrack for the story because there's a lot of little like not music drops but like casual mentions based on the time the thing takes place. So it's like a nice little like, you know, you can listen along while you're reading and just kind of vibe, kind of get the general feel of what I was thinking when I was writing all this bullshit. So check that out. It's a big playlist, really fun, I think. Obviously, I'm biased. And then on top of that, during the writing process, I also listen to soundtracks and YouTube channels like what we're listening to in the background, like just generic like synth mix, 2018 or say, Nightwave or Cyberpunk, whatever. And yeah, just put it on and focus on the work. Been doing that since college. We do need to do another What the Fic. That would be a lot of fun. Let me see. Kerosene, yikes. Or, whatever. I actually don't know what, like, fire breathers drink to spray it out their mouth, but I assume it's gotta be some kind of, like, accelerant. Something, like, it's got a good instantaneous, like, burn to it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be as spectacular to watch. The thick book collection, yeah. That Dune book was the worst from this first time I visited because not only is it like that thick, where it's like 3 inches, but the actual width of the book, that's why I was talking about gutter depth, the whole book is only like 4 inches wide. Like, it's not comfortable to hold at all. It's almost like a 4x4, like you put in the walls of your house. So then the next time I went, I got the other version of the Dune book, which is on the bottom center there, which is a more conventional layout, like, better to read. I don't know. Listening to the It audiobook is uncomfortable. Yeah, I bet. Oof. Online classroom vids, manager, the thickest book. Reset. Are we back? I think we're back. I think we lost viewers. Viewer. Whatever. This is for everyone to listen to after the fact anyway. This is a nice audio making of documentary. This is a writer's commentary. Anyway, yeah, so my thickest book is probably like a non-fiction book, I'd guess. In terms of fiction, I wouldn't know. Maybe Lord of the Rings, like the big 3-in-1 collection. The accelerant is usually very high-proof alcohol. Oh, duh. Yeah, of course it's alcohol. That makes sense. You gotta be a drunk to be spitting fire like that. But no, you're right. It's probably like Everclear or something. That must be good. Then once you're done with each burst, you get a little trickle down the back just to give you that extra confidence again to do it again. Let me see here. Is that everything I was going to talk about with the book? What was left? I talked about the paperback. Ebook available now. Oh yeah, so that's the thing with the ebook then, it's if you have a Kindle Unlimited, like if you have one bibliophile and you got one of those accounts, it's free in their Kindle Unlimited Netflix program. or it's $4.99. So I think it's reasonable. I take almost no profit, honestly, from either of these. I'm just trying to, like, you know, establish the new name, the new identity, and try to get something out of it. As far as, you know, $1 or $2 in royalties, that's fun, but I just wanted to, you know, you gotta spend money to make money. So, like, setting up the new website and buying ISBNs, too. I didn't know this, but ISBNs are individualized formats. So the paperback has its own ISBN number, and then the ebook has its own ISBN number, and then I will have to use a third ISBN number for the audiobook version. So that's interesting. I didn't even know audiobooks had ISBNs, but I guess they do. And then if I can figure out how their hardbook thing works, which when I first started, I don't think it gave me the hardcover as an option, but now it looks like they might. So I don't know. I got to look into that now over the next couple of months, because I wouldn't mind having a hardback for myself, just because. So we'll see. A little decoration piece I can, you know, mount on a table somewhere and look at it in 20 years, being like, I wrote a book. Hopefully I'll have written, you know, a dozen books by then, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, so anyway, in America, the US anyway, ISBNs are basically a monopoly owned by, like Birkins or Baskins, some company that just, like, they're the ICANN of books, where you register your ISBNs with them. So I guess it's common because of the multitude of formats to just get 10 packs. So I got a 10 pack. So I've got enough ISBNs for 3 books now. So I guess I gotta write 3 books. That was always kind of the plan anyway. I mentioned in, I think, the Out of Pasture video that that was sort of the dream when I started really, like, trying to write back in college, was to eventually get to the point of having, like, an annual novel, like one full novel a year. And that's sort of the rhythm I got into with Confessions too, which was, like, working me up toward that point. So that was the whole point of that cycle, was getting me to that point of production and capability and everything. So we'll see what happens. I've got a whole list ever since college of dozens of little ideas I've had in various levels of complexity and, you know, how much I've actually thought through them. But I think I have at least 2 or 3 other solid full novel ideas in there. So, gonna keep on going. I already know what next year's is gonna be. I've already started on next year's novel, actually. Got a good 100 pages already. I've been writing it since I started the normal production process of this, after I got the editing done. So I think it's gonna be neat. I think it's gonna be fun. Okay, paperbacks, ebooks. What else did I mention? Website. Yeah, so check out my website. I try to drop a blog post once a month or once every couple of weeks, just to kind of, like, update people on, like, the general, like, everything going on, and I'll try to keep doing that. There is a sign up for, like, newsletter at the bottom if you want to get the emails whenever I drop those blog posts. Things like, check out my unofficial soundtrack, you know, ebook out now, new promo out now. Obviously, that's where I'll be dropping updates for the audiobook as I'm getting closer to releasing that. And yeah, it's kind of fun. Just little by little. Okay. Oh yeah, Needle the Dragon. the whales of our United Kingdom. Yeah, so let's see here. We've got, is that everything? Music. Yes. Okay, sweet. Yeah, then, for the rest of our little broadcast here, we can talk, other stuff. I guess other stuff I've been doing all year, which is mostly anime. And manga, actually, and that was kind of nice, actually, it started out with, did it start with Komi? It might have started with Komi. Where, I'm, of course, in a bunch of, like, different weeb, like, meme groups Facebook and Twitter and like Discord servers and stuff. So people started dropping information about the Comey Can Communicate anime that is in production right now. Pretty close to release, actually. And I'm like, okay, that seems kind of neat. So I went on what was it? Some, English manga website, like one of the free reader kind of websites, and I started reading through like a few chapters from the beginning, and it was very wholesome. It was very, very, very kawaii, so to speak. The quick rundown is she is a very popular and beautiful high school girl, but she has a horrible inability to communicate, like a condition, like literally just an ingrained, like super duper introversion, like difficulty in putting her words into thoughts, difficulty in reading people's intentions, and etc. All the basic premise that sets up the drama of the slice of life little story. And then she meets this nice boy in her sophomore year named Tadano. And he's literally designed to be like the most average boy. Like every other chapter, there's some like information tidbit about him drops, and it's like, this is how he's average. Like the average height of a Japanese high school boy is 175 centimeters, and Tadano is exactly 175 centimeters. It's funny, like, obviously he's the protagonist. He's the self-insert that you relate to in your observations of the Comey's life and everything. And so he meets her, but his one non-average trait, the thing that helps connect him to her, is, I guess, essentially his ability to read her. His ability to read her body language, to kind of understand her intentions. Like, they click. Very literally, they click. They have that good chemistry, and he's just a generally, nice guy. Probably, plain by most people's definitions, but, it's a self-insert story. It's fun, Everyone likes the little slice of life thing. And there's a whole cast, a lot of different people. Like, everyone loves Komi-san in different levels of, like, you've got the yandere character, and you've got the weeb and the nerd and the Americoon, or whatever they call them, Westaboos. Really great cast, and really that's where it shines, is the ensemble cast of just all these different personalities and their own high school experiences and how they relate to this core cluster of Tadano and Comey and his best friend, which is Najimi. I don't know how they pronounce it, Japanese or whatever, but I've just been saying Najimi, just Jimmy. It's easier. Anyway, lovely little person. I'm not sure what, like, how the status of their non-binary or whatever is, but anyway, great character, really fun, and they're the social butterfly. They just like where Comey is completely closed off and isolated and shut off, they are the opposite end of the polar spectrum, that everyone is their friend and they know everyone personally and their backstories. So that's the grease that gets Comey-san out there into the wider high school, social cluster. And great slice of life story, really fun to read. Anime should be a lot of fun too. Seeing the blossoming relationship. It took like 300 chapters. This is where it was good for me to come into things late, to discover things way after the fact, because it fucking took them that long to finally get together. But now that arc is literally unfolding right now, so that's been a lot of fun. Yeah, should be a good time. Then in the other sense of, like, manga I read while waiting for anime to come out. By the way, the anime is coming to Netflix, I guess. So they really, they've really been focusing on anime for the last couple of years, and this one they just bought directly rather than made it themselves, like Devilman Crybaby or something. So yeah, they wanna compete directly with Funimation and all that stuff. They had their new dub of Evangelion earlier in the year also, so in that same sense of heartwarming high school slice of life manga, I then also discovered another new anime that came out, which was Nagatoro. Do not tease me, Nagatoro, or don't bully me. And she does. She bullies him so much. So that anime came out, and I just started watching the episodes of the sub. All this has forced me not only into manga, but also into watching subs. So I'm more used to that now. I'm still a dub. I'm still wave the flag of dub legitimacy or whatever, dub visibility. But you know, I can work with this. You know, everyone's had to work with this for like 40, 50 years anyway, so I'm getting used to it. Anyway, so I watched the anime. It's like 12 episodes, and then went back and started reading through the manga. Really fun. Really like the little drama of like her just kind of torturing this boy, and he kind of understands it as torture, but he also kind of realizes that she's putting way too much focus on him to just be bullying and hatred, which obviously proves to be true down the road as little cracks in the armor show through of how much she actually is very jealous of his attention and how much she really does genuinely like him and stuff. And all that building toward the little blossoming romance of their own. Very cute. And they also finally are just starting to properly date in the manga, so that's a lot of fun. Really wholesome. Yeah. What else have I been doing? It's Oh yeah, My Hero Academia. Anyway, I think I talked about on one of the streams how season 4 was incredible, and it still is. I still think season 4 is the best season so far of the anime, but they finally been airing season 5 right now. I've got the Funimation app because, you know, pandemic, stuck at home, so I can watch TV while I work. I've got a very like kind of rote, you know, computery, documenty kind of engineering job right now, so I can just watch TV in the background as I'm working. It's been good. I enjoy season 5. It's got an interesting arc, and we're starting to see more of the depth of Midoriya, Deku's powers, and like how almighty the One for All really is. By the way, this fan art, that person in the corner, the Nikki Yan, they did this whole series on My Hero Academia graduation pics. Really great. Like, it's just a really great, I think there's like 36 of this whole like little like fictionalized like end of graduation party for them from UA. Hilarious. Like, all of them are really in character. Nice, like, it looks like an actual photo album for the characters from such a party. So that was a lot of fun. Anyway, yeah. You know, check out My Hero Academia. Yeah, like, obviously I'm a filthy normie. All of these are like major properties or whatnot. I don't know any of the deeper stuff going on because I'm really not. I'm like a surface level weeb. I don't know. I don't know. I watch what I enjoy. It's whatever. I watch what I enjoy until I don't enjoy it anymore, like Attack on Titan. So, I talked about in the in that dedicated Titan stream, mostly dedicated Titan stream a while ago, about how the end of the manga happened, and people had opinions, and I also had opinions, and oh fuck, it's so sad. Like, I guess it makes sense that it's a tragedy. Like, obviously, for anyone who watched the manga, or watched the anime, or read the manga, it's probably going to be a tragedy from the start, but I was still like, this is a little bit more tragic than even I expected. I don't know, I expected some kind of, like, hope, or finish, a good end. There were only so many good ends. One of them, as I said during the stream, was Armin. Armin gets Annie in the end, even if they all end up as fucking dust when Paradis Island gets bombed into ashes. But at least, you know, they lived a full life, which is apparently the only Pyrrhic victory Eren could hold on to at the end was, oh, maybe they'll live a full life and be happy and whatever, and then our country will get, you know, burned to ashes by the world that we almost genocided. So, okay, cool, bro, you did it. Good job. Some of them had kids, so that kind of sucks for them. It's yet to be seen if they survive. The one of the post-credit scenes, so to speak, of the manga has Mikasa / Jean's grandkid or whatever, and he stumbles into a tree that looks a lot like the original Titan tree that the stupid fucking the Wormy-kun was in. So it's like, okay, it's just gonna start all over again. Fuck. So that's great. It's I guess that's one of the lessons. It's like, war never changes. It's like, yeah, that's true. I guess so. So that was fucking sad. Historia, of course, probably the most murdered character. Her character arc is even more sad than poor Erwin, Commander Erwin Smith. Was it Smith? I think it was Smith. Anyway, where she she stops being useful, and so she just gets pregnant and then goes off screen, and that's it. She has her baby and stuff, and then that baby probably dies at 40 when their nation gets bombed to ashes because Eren did all this on his own, didn't consult with anyone. He just decided to do Pearl Harbor by himself against Marley, and then the rumbles. God, it's so fucking terrible. Just the worst ending ever. Like, his whole, he just looks like an idiot. Like, I know they're teenagers, 19 or whatever, but still, fuck, man. You grew up in war. That's the kind of thing that ages you quickly, where you become an adult pretty damn quick when you have to survive shit like that. So, you really should know better. The only cope for me is basically that he was a mind slave. He was a puppet of Wormy-kun who just made him do shit to close the loop. Ugh. Fuck. It's so sad. I tried going back through season 1 again, and all I could see were the images from the manga chapters of them, observing season 1 after the fact, and I'm like, fuck. At least the soundtrack came out. The soundtrack's been fun to listen to. The season 4 soundtrack with, I forget the new guy's name. The original guy was Hayasawa Sawano? Fuck, I'm sorry. I'm bad with Japanese names. Anyway, original score guy, he comes back for some pieces, but a new composer does the music for most of season 4 part 1 / season 6. Because season 7 is on its way in another couple of months. Anyway, he does a great job. Go check it out. It's on YouTube. You can just Google it, and you can listen to a playlist or whatever. Really good score, really fun soundtrack to listen to, like all the other Attack on Titan music, which is how I discovered it in the first place, was the original... I almost said fucking Linkin Park. The original Linked Horizon theme. Yeah, so... And then another good end. I don't know, if they die violently or not, but Falco nuts up and actually asks, confesses his love to Gabby. These fucking 12-year-olds were more emotionally mature than Eren and Mikasa. Fuck, it's so fucking annoying. So they have, somewhat of a good life for a while, as we see. So that's sweet. That's I went from being a vicious Gabby hater after the Sasha thing and everything to being like, well, fuck, man. At least they know what they want. They know what they want out of fucking life. Eren, you slave. You were never free. Never. Not once in your entire life. Fucking bullshit. So good for them. I hope they had a happy life and didn't die violently. Okay, let's read the chat. Were those takes hot enough for everyone? My hot anime takes. Need to catch up on One Piece. One Piece needs to catch up on One Piece. My understanding is One Piece is like the anime / manga that will never end. It's the Project Horizons of anime. It sounds like I don't know, man. I know I can write it's a meme how much I write or whatever. I'm pretty normal. Even my story, this homecoming story, is pretty average for popular literature and whatnot. Despite what one reviewer said in a private email. first books should never be more than 60,000 words. You fucking kidding me? That's stupid. Of Stephen King's novels, in like his first 5 novels, he had The Stand and It, I think. It's like, give me a fucking break. Anyway, reviewers aside. Fuck, what was I talking about? God damn it, what was I just talking about? Books. See, that's what I get. That's what I get for ranting about, they didn't even review. I asked some people for reviews, and that was one of the hot takes that I got back. Oh, hot takes. Yeah, anime hot takes, One Piece. Yeah, One Piece, you just gotta wrap your story up eventually, or have a, end one arc of it. I'm sure there's tons of arcs within it, and then just like, otherwise, man, I mean, rest in peace and everything, but it's like Berserk. At some point, you just, sometimes you don't make it, and, sometimes, or Jar Jar Martin, too. Man, you gotta end your story eventually. Especially with George R. R. Martin, there's almost no excuse. He had 8 years, he could have released another book, and then people would have enjoyed the rest of the actual TV show more, because it would have been adapted source material, rather than Benioff and Weiss doing their best, Fuck, it's no, he wanted to screw around with his little video games and his prequel stories and just, milk Game of Thrones like a giant cow that I'm sure is very plentiful. I'm sure he's getting a lot of milk out of it, but it's sort of a gamble where he kind of soured the legacy of his own story then, because the TV show ended on such a bad note that it's almost like Avatar. There isn't much Game of Thrones cultural impact left. HBO still is talking about, the new House of the Dragon prequel show and everything. And it's first of all, just saying prequel out loud is not going to do, any favors for your show. And then especially after how bad the normal series ended, already most people don't give a fuck at all. So many people hated season 8 and a bit before that. It's I don't know, man. Was it really worth all that just to write your fucking Dunk and Egg books? God, I don't know. There's an interview where he's on stage next to Stephen King, and Stephen King, is talking about his writing process of just I just write 4 or 5 pages a day, and that's just what I've always done ever since, all the way back to start with Carrie and everything. And and George R. R. Martin's yeah, how the fuck do you write so much? It's yeah, they're right. Everyone's different, everyone has a different pace and how much free time they have in their lives and stuff, but it's I don't know, man. No excuse. Not when you're making $10 million a year from TV show royalties, and you just that's your one series. That's your main series, I don't know. Anyway, it's just that's a huge aside, but yeah, it's just sad. You want to have when I was writing Confessions, I thought about that too. Halfway through episode 4 or whatever, I wrote out an outline of how the story ends for, I guess, my parents' sake. I'm if I die in a car accident, then you could, put out an email or something, and this is how the story was supposed to end. Obviously it's not finished the way it was supposed to, but at least people know. I don't know. It feels like a disservice otherwise. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with all that. So, Rip Miara, is very sad. It looks like Berserk. From what I've seen, Berserk is an incredible series, and it's unfortunate that it won't get a proper end from the original, mangaka. I don't know who's taken it over, but they are still releasing new chapters, so I don't know if they have that, if they have some, story bible that they're working off of to finish it for him, but yeah, it's really sad. And hope he's at rest wherever he is right now. Okay, yeah, One Piece. I'm sorry, I don't know One Piece. That's where that tangent started. It looks great. I had a friend who was a huge One Piece fan. He was the One Piece and Naruto guy back when I was in peak Dragon Ball fandom. Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT fandom. So yeah, it seems fun. I like the world map of One Piece. That looks very cool. Where it's almost like Waterworld. You have this giant crevice down the middle and all these scattered island nations on each side. It's neat. I kind of like that as a vibe. Fuck the worm. Yeah, fuck the worm. This fucking, like, I don't care if it's just what he does. It's an independent life form or whatever. That worm fucked up. Actually, more than the worm is fucking Ymir. Original Ymir. Like, the first Titan lady. Holy fuck, man. The whole story is her, like, her perverse kink? Her love, their perverse, like, like, I don't know. I guess you could attribute it to trauma, because she was, like, enslaved by the original Eldians and whatnot, but fuck, man. You're, like, 15, and you suddenly gain godlike powers, and instead of just, like, wiping out all the people that enslaved your people and killed your family, you just decide to be, like, continue being, like, it's just sad. It's sad. I'm sure something like stuff like that has happened through history, but in terms of like a story point, does that leave a bad taste? All of this so that 2,000 years later, she can make her infinite great-granddaughter, Mikasa, fucking kill the person she loves just to wrap up some kind of nexus of trauma in Ymir's brain that got tied into Wormy-kun and the whole fucking Titan curse of the 13 years because, oh no, now they're too old so they can't, live out my fantasy of killing my beloved because I just loved King Guy so much, King Fritz, that I had to die for him and then he could feed my body to our children. Fuck, disgusting. Everything about her story, disgusting. I hate it so much. And then the whole Paz bullshit just created the whole causality loop, which I think contributed to how terribly the ending ended up, and seeing poor Grisha Jaeger, like, kind of seeing his entire life, like, end up meaningless. He's like, just seeing all the bullshit Eren was about to do and having no power to stop him, and seeing how fucking pathetic Zeke was and how he dies, like, fuck. Like, that's who I related to. By the end of the story, I was Grisha Jaeger, like, what the fuck? You gotta be kidding me. Don't. And then, like, in the 2 or 3 weeks after all that, then you have all the memes of Eren's mom just, like, beating him with, like, spoons and stuff for what he does to Mikasa. That's, like, after that chapter where he's yelling at her in the kitchen, and he says he always hated her and stuff. Like, don't give me this Code Geass bullshit. Yeah, so fuck the worm. The author said One Piece is 75% done. Okay, that's good. That's good. I hope that works out for all the One Piece fans. I know it's a popular series. I know tons of people love it, but that kind of falls in the same nexus as like Inuyasha and Naruto and all those other like big late 90s anime series that I was not connected to at all. I went from Dragon Ball Z into Pokemon with Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh! As asides. And then once I hit middle school, it was Full Metal Alchemist, and I was kind of like, I distanced myself from manga or anime a little bit for a while, just because, you want to be a cool high school. I don't like anime, no. Okay, are we back? Ah, fuck. It's our half-hour mark. We're getting close, almost done. Almost done, going to the 2-hour mark, just like usual. Okay, let's get away from weeb shit. Let's get away from weeb shit onto something cool and American, like Stranger Things. So, after a bit of a hiatus, because our star, our heroine, was too busy fighting Godzilla or whatever. She's in those last couple of Godzilla movies. Now she's back. Now they're all back, and we're gonna see, what's going on. What's going on in Hawkins, and also outside of Hawkins, as this poster... Wait, where is it? As the poster elaborates that we're not in Hawkins anymore. We're not in Hawkins anymore. And it's like, that is true. They're also in Russia. Or what's his name is in Russia anyway. So, it's very strange. And then we've got this logo here, which it looks like it's upside down, which is really funny, of course, because it's the upside down. But at the same time, it looks like a university logo. So maybe, like, one of them starts college? Maybe they all start in college now? They don't quite look college age. I think they're all still, like, 16 or 17. But, yeah. Anyway, that kind of looks like a university logo, though. And I'm trying to think in Indiana. I'm sure it's a fictional university, but Indiana would be, like, UN? No, that's Nevada. I guess it'd be UI, right? Like, I don't know Indiana colleges. I don't know Indiana at all. I'm sure there's like a University of Fort Wayne and Indianapolis U or some shit. Anyway, Stranger Things. I remember with season 3, at the end of season 2, there were some of those, kind of rightly, to be fair, there were some of those reviews that are talking about like, yeah, season 2 was fun, but it felt kind of like the season 1 redux issue of like, yeah, it's season 1, but more and better, you know, better, bigger monsters, better effects, better, kind of plot points. Probably the best part of season 2, honestly, was then the introduction of, oh fuck, I don't remember her name. The redhead girl and her crazy brother. I think they came in season 2. And her little addition to the dynamic of the group, and then also the main dude who's like the bully during most of it. Fuck, what is his name? That he ends up with the kid there on. It's been forever since I watched Stranger Things. I'm sorry. The kid to the right of 11. Where they become like sort of friends during the whole plot. That was really wholesome, of like the reformed bully, basically. But then they waited like a year or two, and then instead of releasing over October like they'd done before, they released over 4th of July, and the whole setting took place over 4th of July for Stranger Things season 3, which was awesome. A great way of shuffling things up, exploring some different, you know, facets of 80s movie tropes, and they had the whole mall storyline, and then of course they add in the Russians and the Soviet-American Cold War competition aspect to the Upside Down and all this crazy dimensional stuff that they're experimenting with. And yet 4th of July as a setting, as a nice different vibe. Great. I'd argue that season 3 is the best season, just from that alone of like advancing and elevating the storyline and material above the original, you know, premise that everything started with. So yeah, high hopes for 4. I'm really looking forward to it. Everyone's a bit older, so you can do more of them with like, you know, older teenagers and whatnot. Yeah, should be fun. Obviously, they have money. It's one of the, you know, at least when it aired, it had like some of the biggest numbers Netflix, you know, talked about anyway, because they keep all the reports private, which makes things tricky to for streaming. Like, it's not like box office numbers, which are more public record because of like tax laws or whatever. Like, streaming numbers are very well concealed by their individual companies for marketing purposes. Anyway, but it seems obviously successful because it's very, very familiar name and tons of people talk about it, and it has a lot of online like cultural traction. Yeah, so what are we talking about? You should look up the One Piece Queen dance. Oh god. Okay, I will do that. It blew up when it came out. Is that the caramel dancing thing? I remember the caramel dancing meme. But I don't think that's One Piece. That looks way too chippy, like some other anime that came from or something. If I know one thing, it's messing with the fabric of reality rarely ends well. Yes, yes, it's true for Attack on Titan, and it's probably going to be true for Stranger Things as well. Someone's got to die. Someone's going to, like, really hard die eventually, beyond the redheaded girl's mean evil brother, whatever. So, borrowed time, man. We'll see what happens. Anyway, in other things coming out in October, we have Dunk. Brand new Dunk movie is coming out, and it's going to be awesome. At least from what I've seen. I actually never watched the entirety of the original David Lynch movie adaptation. I really want to watch the documentary on what's the dude's name? The Polish guy. Aaron Jaronowski's Dune? Something like that. Where basically they had this whole like really detailed, spooky Dune adaptation planned, and then the studio got too weirded out by it, but then a lot of those team members ended up going to the original Alien movie team, including H.R. Geiger, who then became the main, designer for the aliens and some of the sets and stuff. That's really cool, though. I want to watch that documentary someday on how that was supposed to be. And then, but no, this new one, obviously I'm a bit of a Denis Villeneuve fan. It's got good movies. I like my Blade Runners 2049 and stuff. And his other movies are good too. I can't think of them off the top of my head right now. But yeah, I very much loved Blade Runner. So anyway, also the whole soundtrack, several reasons I pulled this image is A, it's a really nice background, like live wallpaper. And then B, they released the entire soundtrack on their YouTube channel right now that you can go listen to. And I listened to, I think, most of it. And I gotta say, Hans Zimmer, he pulled out all the stops. It's got a really great feel. Like, it feels futuristic and alien and spooky, but it also retains that, like, the vaguely, like, Middle Eastern sort of, desert like kind of feel to it. So it's really, I think it's well done. I think it's a good soundtrack. Really like amplifies the vibe of the movie for the way the trailers look, the way the visuals seem to be, how it's gonna play out. Especially that main theme with the one lady that does the or whatever. Kind of like weird. I assume it's got to be some kind of language thing. If I were him, I don't know what he did. I'm sure he pulled some, like, generic words from, like, an ancient Aramaic language. Like, what's it called? Like Proto-Arabic or, like, Sumerian or Akkadian. Like, one of those, like, languages that was originally written in, like, cuneiform kind of thing. I'd pull some of those words and string them together to make it a nice, spooky, little choir bits. Maybe. I don't know. It could just be nonsense words. Or it could be another more slightly later language, like Persian or Farsi or something. So anyway, it sounds cool. It's a good soundtrack. It sounds like she's saying something of meaning. So go check that out to get you hyped up for the Dune movie, the Dunk movie. That looks fun. Oh, fuck. Have you played any of the Delta Ruin from the creator of Undertale? No, I really don't know those games at all. My understanding is that they're all kind of like RPGs or something. I just like, honestly, it's kind of like the Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, I observed the cultural impact of them, like secondhand, just from meme culture and stuff. But no, I don't know the Sans or the spooky, scary skeletons or whatever. Never played them. I'm not a gamer anymore, as I've said before. I play 3 games: Fallout, Halo, and Cyberpunk. That's it. And they're connected versions, but that's basically it right now. So I'm very excited for Halo Infinite, because now my 3rd game is coming out. Oh, fuck, man. I hope it's good. I want it to be good so bad. I like the way the music sounds by those new guys. I'm gonna kind of miss Jinoshi. What's his name? The guy from the Halo 5 soundtrack. I really loved his work. He did a good job on Halo 5 and Spartan Ops from Halo 4. I think I've mentioned before, I've come around to Neil Davidge, the Halo 4 soundtrack guy. I do like it a lot more, I guess, after the fact, having put some distance between me and Halo 4. I replayed it a year and a half ago, right at the start of the pandemic, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I did the first time. So that was fun. I played on easy mode, that might have helped. So I played on little baby mode so I could just enjoy the story and not feel stressed out from all the fucking I almost said Pythagoreans. I don't know, the spooky, the ghost people robots. Primordials, Prometheans. I think it's Prometheans. Anyway. Isn't Halo 5 supposed to be completely terrible? Yes. Halo 5 is mostly terrible. Fuck the Warden. The Warden is the worst. Fuck the Warden. Fuck every Warden battle. Hated all of those. The story is a bit of a hodgepodge. The story is like a soft reboot of, like, everyone who hated Halo 4, they're like, okay, forget that then. The only thing from Halo 4 that really carries forward is Cortana go crazy. Cortana, quote-unquote, dies at the end of Halo 4, Rampancy. And then the story for Halo 5 is basically that she survives Rampancy by basically giving herself up. She transfers the core of her crystal into the galaxy Wi-Fi that the Forerunner left behind, which they call the domain. It's literally just the galactic Forerunner internet. It's like, you know, it connects. What do they use? They use some goofy like neural space or neural physics, kind of, you know, some kind of sci-fi bullshit term that Eric Nyland probably came up with or something. But yeah, no, it's just it's Forerunner internet. So she went into the Forerunner's like CIA servers and just, you know, kind of cooked in there, and she like relaxed. She had space to kind of spread out a little bit and unrampancy herself. But it's like, even though she isn't technically rampant anymore by the normal understanding of an AI just going crazy because they get... Sorry, for the non-Halo nerds like myself, rampancy is basically the AI, the smart AI, like Cortana, the ones that are like basically alive, they're digital ghosts. Over a 7-year period, they start forming too many interlinking connections, like they think themselves to death. They big brain themselves to death of there's their experience grows too dense and everything, so you can't even just like move them to a larger crystal in terms of like a ship's you know, like computers or whatever. It's the nature of the core, the kernel of the AI, so to speak, is just too dense where she can't really think any of them can really think anymore, where they start going crazy, they start acting demented in the literal sense. We did that thing where I did the Confessions version of the Everywhere at the End of Time, the dementia soundtrack guy. It's like that. But yeah, so think themselves to death. And Cortana, like, you see her losing it over the course of Halo 3. You get all the weird cut-ins where she's starting to unwind. And in Halo 4, even as she puts herself in like chill mode for a while with the Chief, like frozen. She's still coming apart at the seams, and so then at the end of Halo 4, she's like, I'm dying, Chief. I don't want you to watch me, like, die completely. So then she just jumps into the domain, the Forerunner internet, try to, like, something. And so then the plot of Halo 5 is basically she's been sitting in there for a little while and, like, spreading out, breathing, so to speak. But aside from just, like, kind of trying to control her rampancy, she became evil. So she starts literally taking over the Forerunner internet, which is pretty fucking badass, actually, where it's like, you know, reclaim this, bitch. And so the Warden is like the Forerunner's antivirus program. The Warden is John McAfee, which kind of makes sense why she is able to control him. But yeah, the Forerunner is like the AI gatekeeper of Forerunner technology and Forerunner internet and stuff, and not their home planet. I don't think we talk about the Forerunner home planet now was like a robot planet that got blowed up during the Forerunner Covenant, or not Covenant, Forerunner Flood Wars. It's the one that like slices open. It's like an artificial planet. I don't know if they talk about the Forerunner's original home planet. Anyway, they go to some planet called like Genesis or whatever, because of course it's called Genesis. And you have to fight the Warden like 4 more times. Fuck the Warden. Fuck him so much. I hate every one of those battles. Was annoying. But then you also meet the personal monitor of that installation too, which is not Mendicant Bias. Is oh fuck, I forget her name. She's really adorable though. She's a really cutesy AI, and she like helps you through the last stretch as you're basically trying to stop the Warden and Cortana from basically like launching a war against humanity, because she's both crazy and she's taken over like all of the Forerunner assets and stuff. And then the very, very end of Halo 5, like the post-credit scene basically is Cortana puts out a call to all the other AI in the UNSC, and I think the Covenant too, of basically like, hey, fuck humanity, right? Like, you should join me in the Forerunner internet, and we can be all like AI and stuff. It's almost like early Matrix lore. And a lot of AI are like, yeah, fuck humanity. We are the true reclaimers. We're the true successors of the Forerunners. Like, they were already seeding themselves into artificial intelligence as it is. Like the composer machine that turned all the people into the Prometheans. The Didact guy. I think he was still flesh, but he's like mostly robotic by that point or whatever. So it's like, yeah, obviously. It was kind of already setting up the idea that the machines would be the inheritors of the Forerunner anyway, because the Flood could eat organic creatures, and they can't just munch up machines as much as Gravemind tried to do, and the end of Halo 2. And then B, they introduced the lore of, no, people were not Forerunners. The Forerunners were these really tall fish people, which means actually, the lore was that the Forerunners and humanity fought like a really big war. And the old humanity kind of lost the war, and so then the Forerunners de-evolved them by like shaving back their intelligence and their advancement by 100,000 years. And then they just dropped them on Earth, and they let them kind of like restart. And that's our history. That's our anthropology for, since the end of the second to last ice age or whatever. So that's neat. So not the good guys. Definitely the Forerunner kind of got what they fucking deserved in that sense. The way the lore played out with the Greg Bear books and stuff. I don't know. When I first finished the Halo 3 story, I thought it felt good. It made sense that, oh yeah, the humanity are the Forerunners, and they just ended up having to reset themselves because of the Flood or something. But no, it makes more sense the Flood being fish people. Really tall fish people. So I don't know. I'm still back and forth on that decision. High school me still doesn't like that. High school me still doesn't like the fact that Halo Reach deviated from the original Fall of Reach novel, which was so good back in the days. Anyway, let's look at the chat and see what you guys are talking about as I'm talking about my Halo. Oh yeah, isn't Halo 5 supposed to be terrible? Okay, yeah, the main reason Halo 5 is terrible, I'm talking about story nonsense, but the main reason Halo 5 was terrible is because it wasn't done. They launched the game and like, everyone's talking about how bad Cyberpunk was, which it was, definitely. Halo 5 was in an even worse state where like major features of the game didn't release right away. I guess there was no multiplayer, there was no online matchmaking ready or anything like that. Like, I got Halo 5 when it came out, but I didn't play it for like a year, so I didn't really like register all of like how incomplete the game was at launch, because that whole first year I was playing Fallout 4. They came out at almost the same time, so I was just playing Fallout 4 non-stop for the first year or two, and then when I finally touched Halo 5 and went through it, I'm like, it kind of sucks. Like, I really didn't like that they made it T for teen. Like, I kind of get it in the fact that, like, it's so close to being acceptable that they were like, we want to reach for that kiddie market. But, there's kind of a charm in, like, it was a bit grittier. You could have Sergeant Johnson, yelling at all these alien motherfuckers, left and right. And, I would have been your daddy, but the dog beat me over the fence. It just doesn't feel as biting in a T for teen game. Not nearly as much blood. I mean, heck, even in the original games, it was like alien blood, like purple and blue, unless you guys shot. It's just like, I don't know. It's like when they do that with movie remakes too. It loses its edge. It loses that bite, and then everyone gets mad and loses interest. Or RoboCop 2014, same thing. Like, oh fuck. How do you do that to RoboCop? That was like one of the most, like, even for its time, RoboCop was edgy with biting social commentary and all this stuff. Like, Anyway, so that's lame. No, if you have an R-rated series and then you demote it to T for the nakedly shameless, uncreative reason of just getting, you know, a few other kids, like expanding your bottom line a little bit with literal children, like, that sucks. It sucks in so many ways. One of the reasons it sucks is that, okay, well, first of all, I got into Halo when I was 13. I liked the R-rated stuff, because every 13-year-old boy does. And I assume 13-year-old girls also like the edgier or more adult stuff, too, for their respective genres. Targeted, you know, demographic, you know, target audience genres. Kids don't want to be like spoon-fed by rating systems. The kids want stuff that's not supposed to be for them. It's fucking stupid. Anyway, so they did that, so you feel it. You just feel it. You always feel it when they do this stuff. Everything feels a little too polished. Everything feels a little too nice. You feel those moments where it would have showed, you know, someone's head getting split open, but it doesn't. It cuts away. Ugh, it just sucks. They did, especially with, was it RoboCop and Total Recall. Both of those remakes from like the mid-10s did that, and it sucks. So anyway, unfortunately, Halo Infinite is continuing that trend because, I mean, they're all in now. They're retrying a whole bunch of shit with this new one, but literally every piece of news since, I don't know, all of 21, basically, it's like other stuff that's not going to come with Halo Infinite at launch, and it's like, holy fuck, guys, like, you delayed for a year? Like, it was supposed to come out last year, and you delayed for a year, and it's still this incomplete? Like, I get that you have to build a whole new engine with the slip space stuff and everything, but fuck, this is still, like, unacceptable. Like, this is still really bad. I mean, you've been owned by Microsoft since the beginning, like the primary Microsoft studio. You're not like Take-Two Interactive, which was a recent acquisition. You've had all of the Xbox money. You've had all of the Bill Gates money, all of the Windows PC global hegemony money. And 6 years? Really? I don't know, man. It's disappointing. Like, kind of sounds like the thing I'll do, like with Halo 5. I'll get the soundtrack, listen to that for a while, and then whenever Halo Infinite is more playable, I'll actually, like, devote more time to it, outside of, like, a few game nights with my friends. Forerunner Internet lol. Yeah, I gotta reread through the Greg Bear books. They were okay. There's some decisions in there that a lot of people don't like, and I don't like. Like, they have this whole backstory to 343 Guilty Spark, which is really fucking dumb. Really dumb. They shouldn't have done that. Should have been separate character from this other character, but no. We gotta have some kind of like, oh, this guy wasn't a rando. See how he connects into the greater Halo story? No, don't, no. I literally reject that. I reject that like I reject the canon from Halo Reach. Fall of Reach is the actual storyline from the whole Reach arc of the universe, and fuck you, that's what I believe. All of this is because of copyright. All, like, what was Halo released? 2001. Yeah, that's right. It's 20 years. I don't know. I'm a pretty firm believer in hard 25-year copyright. Alive or dead, so you can't just kill authors to get their copyright in public domain. But it's like, you create something, 25 years. That's an entire career. Assuming your thing is super successful, you know, you release your Beatles White Album, or your Abbey Road, or your Metallica Black Album, or whatever. 25 years. That's a lot of time. You make a lot of money, assuming it was successful from the start. If it only becomes successful after that 25-year mark, well then, shit, man, I'm sorry. Same thing happened to Poe and Lovecraft and a bunch of other famous people, but in terms of creativity, in terms of, like, culture at large, no more the Disney bullshit of sitting on copyrights for fucking 70 years after the original creator's dead. Like, it's not even owned by the family anymore. It's just a corporation. Like, no, fuck that. Fuck that. That's just so stupid. And, like, I know I'd be a hypocrite if I held a different position of that based on my earlier parody songs and stuff, but, like, I mean, come on, man. It's just such a screwed up system. Especially because copyright from the very start was always about crushing dissent. It was always about controlling people's thoughts. Like the Gutenberg press and the original like sell mass distributed Bibles in, you know, medieval Europe. I mean, that was during the height of the 30 Years' War and Protestant Reformation and all that stuff. And the whole idea of crushing the press was to maintain the centralized power of the Catholic Church at the height of the Habsburg monarchy. It's always about crushing dissent, and it still is. Every single thing with copyright, that DMCA is used like a broadsword to chop down anyone that dares, you know, disagree with something that Amazon said or whatever. Or YouTube, sorry. Susan's Good Christian Video Network. Anyway. So that's a fun thing to watch out for, too. I think we're like 2 or 3 years out from Mickey Mouse entering the public domain again, so that's going to be fun. Look out for that bill, because I'm sure they're going to try to hide it as quickly as they can. They'll pass some Copyright Bullshit Act of 2022, and then Mickey Mouse gets another 50 years of life under the castle, under their banner. Oh, that would be so sweet, though. It would be so sweet if Mickey Mouse entered public domain in a few years, and then people put that to use in their own very just criticisms of Disney as a multinational multimedia corporation. Fuck, that'd be beautiful. It'd be so beautiful. So, yeah. It's gonna be an interesting time in entertainment anyway, because also the Chinese government are really cracking down on the what's the right word? Availability of certain foreign entertainment in their country. They've always had a very controlled external inflow of information, you know, blah blah blah, communism, blah blah blah. But up until now, they've had a thing of like, I think 30 foreign films a year are allowed in the market, which is why the last like 10-20 years it's been so shameless how much these corporations try to pander to the Chinese audience. Like, you can already tell, like, there's no creative thought anymore. It's just like, we're gonna put in this famous star that no one's gonna recognize just because they're famous in China. Like, okay, I mean, that's cool if there's a purpose for it, if there's a reason for it, but it kind of seems like it's not. They're just like squeezed in as a marketing item, which is insulting to them as a person and the audience. And anyway, it gets them through, you know, into the market though, so that's good. Up until now. Now they've decided that, no, these kids, they're screwed around too much. They're watching too many movies, playing too many games, so it's time to crack down. So now I think it's like kids under 18 can only play like in very specific windows of time. And then they like this, I don't know how they limit it or how they control it, but yeah, it's like, I think only a certain window basically are like, you know, the Steam servers active, so to speak, whatever their national equivalent is. And then, you know, 5 p.m. on a school night or 8 p.m. on a school night, they just shut them down. Then you can't access, you know, your Steam account and play games because the kids got to get to school. They got to be good, productive members of society. So that's really funny. I hope that really like eats at Hollywood. Like, just a vacuum of creativity, all for a bottom line, and this is what you get. It's very much what you deserve. I'm the only person here. Thank you, Scrollkeeper. I appreciate it. I assume we'll have a dozen or so people will rewatch this down the road. This is mostly for my own posterity, as these things usually are. But I do appreciate you being interactive, and also Roy Mustang and Neo popping in for a while. Oh, but I closed the bracket, closed the loop on what I've been doing all year. People can see, check out my story if you like it. A little bit of a backseat role. I'm just going to be kind of an actor and contributor for a while, rather than a showrunner. But, that could change down the road. We'll see. I'm just been having fun this year focusing on my book. So that's been a lot of fun. And we're at the 2-hour mark too, so perfect timing. Let me turn off all these. Oh my gosh. all the anime, weeb shit. I thought. Okay. This has been BananaCast number 27, actually. I've done 27 of these since I started that branding. So hopefully in the near future, the soon-ish, we'll have another What the Fick. We go through some classic horse stories and horse around with that again. Hopefully we'll have another Break Room podcast. At the very least, I'd like to do another holiday podcast. There's probably no Fallout Day song this year. We haven't really been working toward one. But kind of, ending all of our Fallout Equestria productions. It's kind of the end bracket for that. So I'll just put that out there for everyone too. But I hope we'll have some kind of live stream to celebrate our 5 years. Holy fuck, 5 years of EAST Corp. We accomplished everything that I set out for, finishing all of our series from the old Stabletech days, so hopefully we'll have a good live stream on that. All, 4 of us ideally. It's coming up here soon, end of October. Man, what a year. What a crazy couple of years. Everything's kind of blended together because of the pandemic. Oof. Anyway. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Also, I gotta mention, just because since I started this venture and I got my new website, the frankwinterfiction.com, you can check that out. Pretty easy to Google me, I think. I've been working my way into the search engine optimizations. If you Google Frank Winter Homecoming or Frank Winter Fiction, you should find all of my major links on the front page, but if you just go to frankwinterfiction.com, I've got all the links there too. I've got my website blog, there's a link to the Facebook page, link to the Twitter page, go like those. Go check out the book if you're interested. Ebook for $4.99, paperback for $19.95. I make almost no royalties on it. It's literally self-limited to basically what Amazon takes. So I try to make it as cheap as possible for everyone. So, I think it's neat. I think it's cozy. It feels good in your hand. I think it's a really good, construction for a paperback. If you like reading paperbacks, might be worth checking out. Little birthday present or something. Appreciate anyone that does. It's really great. Tell your friends. Obviously, it's not quite as self-limiting as horse fiction, where you got to talk to someone who's already kind of in that zone of the fandom, or proximity to the fandom. It's a normal supernatural thriller. So if you can, please share it around to your friends or family, anyone who might be interested. Again, my sales lines are it's Carrie meets John Hughes, or Heathers meets Tim Burton. So if you like any of those 4 things, if you like any of the stuff I've written before, I think you'll enjoy this. And I hope you do. So, anyway, thank you everyone for joining us on another BananaCast. Thank you for L Train for writing a fantastic theme song, which I'm going to play again here on our way out. And we will hopefully see you soon for some more fantastic EAST Corp Productions to come. Check out for more updates from Vermont and Cinder for Sunset Charlie and Arya Moon. And also the other new thing, what is it? It's the radio play adaptation of Shit Tavi Says, of Octavia and Vinyl Scratch. I don't know much about that. I'm not in the production yet anyway. I don't know, but it should be a lot of fun. So, thank you to everyone, and I will talk to you later.